There is a line in the Old Testament that keeps showing up in leadership books and sermons. Men who had understanding of the times. It sounds impressive. But what does it actually mean to understand the times? The verse comes from a list of warriors who joined David at Hebron. Different tribes sent their best, and for the tribe of Issachar, the description is specific. Of the children of Issachar, men who had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do, their chiefs were 200, and all their brothers were at their command. 200 chiefs who understood the times, not just the calendar or the season. They knew what was happening socially, politically, and personally. And because they knew, they could tell Israel what to do. A close rendering, they read the moment clearly enough to act wisely. That sounds straightforward, but reading the moment is harder than it looks. Most of us do not read the moment. We react to it. We feel the pressure and respond before we understand what is actually going on. Here is where the contrast matters. Understanding the times is not the same as knowing the news. It is not having a hot take on every event. It is not being the first person in the group chat with an opinion. The men of Issachar did not just know what was happening. They knew what Israel ought to do. The understanding led to direction. And that is the part we often skip. We absorb information constantly. But how often does it lead to a clear sense of what we should actually do? Most of the time, it leads to noise. A screenshot from a private conversation gets passed around with commentary that never names the person directly. Everyone in the group has an opinion, but nobody stops to ask, what does this situation actually require from me right now? Or consider a reply typed in anger. You write it, delete it, rewrite it, and still send it too fast. You knew the moment was charged, but you did not read it. You reacted to it. Or the public post that turns a private disagreement into a performance of being right. The moment called for restraint or a quiet conversation. Instead, it became a display. Understanding the times means pausing long enough to see what is actually happening before deciding what to do. It is not hesitation, it is clarity. But there is a boundary here. Reading the moment can become an excuse. You can use it to avoid hard conversations. You can say, the timing is not right, when the real problem is that you do not want to speak. You can claim to be discerning while actually being evasive. Understanding the times is not a cover for cowardice. It is the skill that tells you when to act and when to wait, and it requires honesty about which one you are actually doing. So the question for today is not whether you know what is happening. You probably do. The question is whether you know what you ought to do about it. What one situation today needs you to read the moment before you act?